Hey guys, it's Elias. Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in today. As you can see behind me, we're talking about the Civic Type R today. It's been a whole year, 12 months, 12,000 miles since I've owned the car. It's been quite the trip. Track days, different brake pads, different tunes, different modifications, and a whole lot of things to come for the Type R. I am not giving up on it. There's so many things I want to do with it, so many races to attend, so many Mustangs to beat. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a little ride and talk to you guys about how it's been, how my life has been with the Civic Type R, how exciting it's been, the ups and the downs. Everything has downs, right? It is real life after all, and what the future holds for my Civic Type R. So let's go ahead and take a drive. So, 1 year, 12 months, 12,000 miles later, what's life been living with my FK8 Civic Type R? Well, we're gonna go over the positives and negatives, all the different things in betweens, everything I've done with it, and what the future holds for my Honda Civic Type R. Man, to think that it's already been a whole year since I bought my Civic Type R, it's kind of crazy to me. I feel like I just bought it, I just finished buying it. I'm still not done enjoying that fresh new car feeling that you get when you buy a new car. Maybe that's because I keep buying all these cars that I have. I have a new truck, I have a WRX, a Prelude that I'm building up, and the S2000, all that good stuff. Maybe it's because of that I still have that feeling, but I think it's a little bit more than that. Every time I get to drive my Type R, it's kind of an amazing experience where, you know, you get in there, it's like, yeah, you know, I've been here before, but it's still kind of fresh to me, where you get in the seat and it feels great. You know, you feel the steering wheel, how nice and active it is. You feel the chassis kind of beneath you. You feel the way the car moves around you. And I'm just loving it. Every time you get into the Type R, it's a special experience. And that's kind of hard to get from any car today. You know, you have to go and get a Corvette or get a bespoke sports car to get this kind of a feeling. And I'm loving every minute. So since I've already started talking about the positives of the car, let's talk about all the positive ways this car has impacted me in the last year or so. So about a year ago, you know, I was looking for a car to replace my Honda Civic hatchback that I owned. Not because I didn't think it was a good enough car, but because I was going to start taking track day driving and racing way more seriously. And I was looking at the market, I was looking what was out there. I looked at Evos, I looked at the WRX STI, the Ford Focus RS, the Golf R, Golf GTI. You know, I looked at a bunch of used cars. I toyed around with maybe getting a second S2000 to build out, possibly getting an older, like a Civic EG hatch or an EK hatch. But then the Type R had just hit the market at the same time I was thinking about this. And I'm like, you know, maybe it was coincidental, maybe not, but Honda, I think, was listening to me, knew that I needed something to just be able to take to the track and enjoy, and they released the Type R finally for the US markets. Now, if you're a Honda guy, I know a lot of you guys are Honda guys. I guess that you can consider me a Honda guy. I do own a few Hondas. You know, I was very excited when it came out. I was like, finally, we get a Type R. We haven't had a Type R in America. This is the first Civic Type R ever delivered to America, and it's insane how long it's taken for them to actually give us a proper Type R. So instead of, you know, doing the other things I was going to look at, I was looking at, like I said, the STI, all those other cars. I went ahead and plopped down and bought a Type R.
My personal best.
what's so good about the Type R, what's amazing about the Type R. A lot of people, you know, tend to say, oh, the engine's so good, the engine's amazing. Yeah, the engine is a gem. We'll get to the engine in a little bit, but the chassis is really what you pay for in this car. So the suspension setup, the ground control setup that it has is just out of this world. So the adaptive suspension that it has, you know, you could switch it up with hitting the R mode or the comfort mode or the sport mode. Having that option just really opens up the usability of this car. In Plus R mode, let's specifically talk about that. At the track and Plus R mode with some sticky tires, this car is insane. I was keeping up or beating Ford Focus RS's. I was keeping up with the Mustangs. I was keeping up with the Corvettes in the corners, and I was just impressed at how low little Civic hatchback that with a MSRP of around $35,000 can keep up with cars twice more expensive than it. You know, it's the old story of David and Goliath. People like to listen to that, and it's true. This car is kind of like a David versus Goliath. It can go against much more expensive cars on the tracks and either keep up with them or even beat them. And that's, like I said, like I keep saying, is what you're paying for when you're paying for a Civic Type R. This is kind of why I don't recommend people to, you know, bag it or lower it or whatever the case may be. Obviously, to each their own. It's not, you know, it's not my money, it's their money, and it's their choice. And honestly, a lowered Type R looks amazing. I think it looks great. You know, I've seen a few, I've seen a couple of bagged Civic Type Rs and lowered Civic Type Rs, and they look really awesome. But you're kind of throwing out half of what you paid for when you buy the Type R. So the chassis and the suspension and the drivability and, you know, all these other good things about the car have not gotten old. In fact, I've gotten better at utilizing the entire performance at all times. Right now, it's currently, as you can see, it's raining, and I know exactly what the car is doing. I know the limits of the grip that the tires give me. I know exactly what's happening under me, and I feel like a pilot of a car versus, you know, kind of a passenger with a steering wheel, as a lot of other cars these days feel. So that by far has been the biggest positive of this car. Now let's get to the engine, of course, the gem of the end of an engine. I mean, Honda is a motor company first, and it shows because this 2-liter, 306 horsepower engine is insanely good. It pulls from around 2,500 RPMs. It just pulls all the way to redline. And that's not what I'm really used to in turbocharged cars. When I did a review of the Subaru WRX STI, the 2018 model, you know, the power kind of falls off at the upper end of the rev range. Not so with the Type R engine. It just pulls all the way to redline, as you'd expect a Honda Civic to pull. You know, it does have VTEC, and it has a turbo on there. And the way they both work together just makes the engine feel so alive. It makes it feel so vibrant. When you get on it, it just pushes you. It ekes you to go. It wants you to go. Obviously, engine, suspension is what you get the car for. The added icing, the added bonus is, of course, this giant hatch behind me. You're not going to find this on an STI. You're not going to find, not even the Ford Focus RS has a big enough hatch compared to the Type R. I was able to get a cooler, I was able to get tools, and a set of 4 wheels and Hoosiers into the back of the car. I also had a video where I put in, I think it was 16 or 18 different wheels and tires in the car to get them mounted and installed. I didn't have a pickup truck at the time. Now I do, so I don't have to do that ever again. But I did it in this car, and that's because the icing on the cake is a hatchback. So if you're just trying to get into track day driving, if you're trying to go to the track or trying to get to racing, and you know you don't really have a pickup truck, you don't have plans, you don't have space for a pickup truck even, you can buy a Type R, get a spare set of wheels and tires, get some tools, put it all in the back, drive to the racetrack, race or do the track day, and then come back home in the same car and not have any issues at all. You'll be in comfort. You know, in the track you do Plus R mode, and on the way home you do comfort mode. It is like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation. It's awesome. It's awesome. So yeah, these are the positives. Now let's go over to some negatives.
time of the day right there, boys. 52 seconds.